Brett Cohen on Tron. So 22 and 8 are the life totals. That was nice. We got 4 worm tokens in play from Brett.
And a bunch of lands for Michael.
Brett has Tron again. This will be the second assembled Tron of game 1. This one looking like it's going to be a win for the Tron side. A lot of big stuff has resolved. Michael's out of stuff.
I don't know, man. Nothing beats rock. It's like a Maelstrom Pulse on Worm token.
Oh, that actually hits all 4 of them, even though they're different, doesn't
they're
it?
Just named Worm.
And Tarmogoyf to follow up from Michael Olson, so maybe speaking a little too soon here. Cohen now playing off the top.
Tron not bad at doing that. He has a lot of cards that are better than Tarmogoyf.
All right.
He controls a Bloodstained Mire. That one was under the Karn.
Here's Expedition Map from Brett Cohen. Look, his utility lands, we see a Scavenger Ground for the turn here. That will shrink the Tarmogoyf back down.
I can make that one a 0/1.
Outside the Scavenger Ground, the only other utility lands Cohen plays are 1 Ghost Quarter and 1 Sanctum of Ugin.
Olson looks a little long on cards in hand.
6/7 Tarmogoyf for now. Says go. Yeah, Olson, a lot of cards. You think, you know, empty-handed Brett against Michael Cohen here. Maybe we're going to see Jun take this. Hold on. It's a Cascade of Bloodbraid Elf into Tarmogoyf. Swing for 9. We're going to see Scavenger Ground sacrificed. Both graveyards totally exiled.
He should have started with the map there.
Yeah, so he didn't put artifacts back in the graveyard.
Now, his deck generally puts a lot of artifacts in the graveyard quickly, but you see here.
Yeah, Brett only takes 3, but yeah, the Goyfs are back up to 1/2s. He'll find just a force. Actually, looks like then he's already used his Sanctum of Ugin. If that's the case, I'm not
that's
sure.
the Sanctum hanging out in the middle is there, isn't it?
If the Sanctum's already there, he seems to have enough mana, or he could just hold on to the map.
That's his first green source, right?
It is his first green source.
He needs to be able to cast Ancient Stirrings.
So there's the forest. Did he draw a Haymaker? You know, we're 1 Ulamog away from things being fine for Brett, but Michael has taken the lead here.
The card drawn looked white bordered, which would be a Tron land.
And here's Liliana. Michael not using that Raging Ravine because Ghost Quarter still hanging out on Cohen's side. Plus from Liliana gets an Urza's Tower out of Cohen's hand, and here's a swing. It's a 3/4 to Goyfs. So swing for 9. Cohen's down to 10. And Michael's gonna, he's just, okay. We just won game 1 against Tron and beat an ultimated Karn.
That's something.
Oh, you can see it on his face. Like, this is, you can count on one hand the number of times he's done that lifetime.
Right.
You know, it's like, oh man.
I wonder what that game looked like before that Karn ultimated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wild.
So, Jund, Michael Olson, up 1-0 on Tron. Let's look at the sideboards.
And he has stuff in his sideboard for the matchup.
All right. 4 Fulminator Mage, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Ancient Grudge, a Huntmaster, an EE, a Liliana, a Brutality, a Fatal Push, an Anger of the Gods, and a Chandra. He tried his best to play mid-range alongside Tron. Fulminators seem great.
Yeah, the 4 Fulminator Mage, those are slam dunks. Ancient Grudge can be okay. You will have some windows. You can hit an Oblivion Stone before it's cracked. Sometimes your Tron opponent will leave an Expedition Map exposed, that sort of thing.
My thought would be, looking at the Jund list, how many dead cards does Michael have to replace here? Because it's going to be a lot.
2 Fatal Push, a Terminate. Maelstrom Pulse and Abrupt Decay are not very strong. You can kind of go over either way. The main deck has 4 Inquisition. You definitely don't want to move off Inquisition. It doesn't always hit what you want, though.
It's got about 2 turns of being useful on the draw.
Right. And many of the cards in the sideboard are kind of doing similar things where they only work sometimes. Kind of like these 2 Colligans commanded in the main deck. Just like Ancient Grudge, they'll do something sometimes.
Yeah. So I like the Fulminators then. Chandra Pyromaster, some of this value stuff out of Michael seems like it could play. At the same time, the problem is when Michael makes a 4 and Brett comes back with an Ugin, none of Michael's cards matter.
Yeah, 8s tend to be a bit stronger than 4s.
Right. So Michael can upgrade here. On Brett Cohen's side, he has some middle-sized creatures, 3 Thragtusk, 3 Thought-Knot Seer, and then he has a bunch of cards that interact with combo decks. But do you go mid-range in addition to your big spells, or do you just eyes on the prize, stay with your game 1?
Yeah, so he knows there's a bunch of Fulminator mages coming in. The thing is, that's the only thing Michael's doing to disrupt your Tron. It's also hard to cast 4 and 5 mana spells when somebody's destroying your lands.
Yeah, I mean, they come down, if they're not destroying your lands, they come down on the same turn as Tron. These sometimes matter if someone is trying to say surgical extract, like crumble a dust to Tron piece, then these cards are more castable. But he knows that Michael doesn't have that.
Right. Yeah, this stuff's all okay. I would not expect to see too much sideboarding on Cohen's side of the table, though.
No, I'm inclined to agree. Do you want to fight over Dark Confidants or Oozes at all? Something like Spatial Contortion, Dismember? No.
Maybe the Dismembers. He has 1 main deck Dismember. When it comes to Dark Confidant, there's some main deck Walking Ballista. He has 2 copies.
That's a lot nicer way to answer them.
Yeah. He has some fine stuff in his main deck for that, and those fights are not super important.
Yeah, looking at his main deck, just the finishers that Tron natural plays in the main deck. Worldbreaker, Wormcoil Engine, Karn, Ugin, these are all fantastic against Jund.
Right. Ulamog.
Yep, these are.
Then the main deck Relic of Progenitus, of which he's playing 2 copies. That is a good amount of play against Tarmogoyf, so there's not really a compelling reason to get that card out of your deck.
Right, yeah, that can, in a lot of ways, act as a removal spell for Tarmogoyfs.
Right. And then it's just a redraw when you need it. And for this game, Brett will be on the play, so if he can get a turn 3 Tron online, he'll be able to start casting things like Karn or Wormcoil Engine before Michael has the opportunity to cast a Fulminator Mage. But yeah, he lost game 1 with Michael not having any access to Fulminator Mage, so.
Yeah, he actually just, by the time he got to the restarted game, Brett had been run out of resources and didn't seem to be able to top deck back into them in time.
Not even that Bloodstained Mire he took from Michael could help him.
And I think that's one of the reasons you generally don't see Tron players restart the Karn unless they have to. You're at the mercy of a 7-card hand, and if you happen to just draw one that doesn't work, you can lose.
Yeah, he must have just been at a low life total against a potential Bloodbraid Elf or something.
Yeah. That would make sense. Because most games where he puts a Karn into play, either the Karn immediately dies or it runs away with the game.
Right.
But game 2 will put Brett on the play. And we'll see if Michael can steal one more here in the matchup. Brett keeping on 7, and he said he's keeping. See if Michael's then keeping. And we are ready to start Urza's Power Plant into Expedition Map to start for Brett. The turn 3 Dream still alive.
Right.
And we'll take a look. Inquisition of Kozilek. Cast by Michael.
The Dream is dead. Well, not dead, but, you know. The second Tron land's not in the hand. You have 2 forests, a Thragtusk, and a Chromatic Star left over after that second Expedition map's taken.
Yeah, so Michael will take the map. That way there's no guaranteed Tron. You might see Brett actually wait a bit before sacrificing this Expedition map then.
Yeah, so you can see what the 3rd Tron land will be. Wait until he finds a second one.
Yeah, it gives you about double the outs to draw into Tron that way.
Mm-hmm.
Forest from Brett. He'll pass, leaving up the map. No, not going to commit that Chromatic Star yet.
Brett also doesn't have a payoff just yet, so if he draws 1 Tron land, he needs to get the 2nd, or the 3rd rather, and a payoff.
Dark Confidant from Michael Olson. And I believe Olson has a Fulminator Mage in his hand as well. This is a type of game that can go toward Jund.
Yes. Yeah, Cohen's hand, especially missing that 2nd Tron land on the 2nd turn here, right. He's in trouble.
Yeah, if this Confidant, if there is a Fulminator in Michael's hand, and the Confidant finds him a 2nd one, I think Michael's the favorite.
Yeah, 2 Fulminator Mages would be a lot to come back from.
And the Tron piece is explained. Looks like Cohen has picked up a third expedition map. He will go ahead and make that here, leaving up 2. So Tron online next turn unless Michael can produce that Fulminator Mage. And he draws land off Dark Confidant and land for the turn. Swings in for 2 to put Brett to 18. Now he'll need some land destruction. And he's got it. Fulminator Mage is the turn 3 play. Which means Brett not going to crack the expedition map just yet.
And I like that he waited until Cohen's turn. He saw the map was not cracked, so Cohen will have to use mana on his turn if he wants to do that.
In response to Fulminator, Cohen will crack expedition map. Finds a different, that's the same Urza piece, it's in Urza's mine.
It's got the spread.
Yeah, he does.
The tower mine was destroyed, and here's the regular looking mine.
Yeah.
The face mine.
And Brett now with a draw for the turn. Draws Karn. That's still a ways off. Chromatic Star from Brett. And he'll pass.
Dream scenario for Michael is 4th land, Bloodbraid Elf into Fulminator Mage. This is just fine, though.
Yeah, here's Fulminator Mage. We said if he had that Dark Confidence that if he can run these Fulminator Mages off the top, Michael's ahead. He's doing it right now.
Right, and if he keeps making land drops, he's building up a situation where Colligan's commands become more Fulminator Mages in a timely fashion at that.
He has 2 Bloodbraids and a Fulminator in hand right now. And it looks like he might go for Bloodbraid. It's a risk to take, but if it pays off, it's huge.
You do want to apply a good amount of pressure. This uses more of your mana. You already have Fulminator Mage in your graveyard, so if you cascade into a Colligan's command, you do get to leverage that in a meaningful way.
All right.
And he has seen a number of the cards in Brett's hand. He knows that Thragtusk is really the payoff that Brett had before.
Right. So he can. So unless Tron happens, he can wait a turn before he gets Thragtusk. Here's Bloodbraid Elf from Michael. It's going to cascade into Colligan's command. Buys back Fulminator Mage, has Brett discard a card. Even if Brett finds Tron on this turn, this game is going to be tough.
Yeah, and Brett discards Karn.
Swinging for 5, Cohen down to 13. 2 Fulminator Mages, that's the second and third of the game, are in the hand for Michael. And Brett draws a forest. He does not make Tron. He needed a tower this turn. He'll get one more chance, cracks Star, finds a Worm Coil Engine.
A little ways off of that one. About to be even further off.
And we go back to Michael Olson. Bloodbraid Elf Dark Confidant shows Lightning Bolt. That is great. Michael down to 15. 3 more damage. If you look at the clock, he's got 5 in attacks. That bolt is very well positioned.
Yes, and using that mana for the Fulminator Mage doesn't take any of the pressure off. This is a 2-turn clock.
So we can bolt, Fulminator, swing 5. I think we're going to see a 2-0 for Jund.
It's looking like it. That'd be quite the upset.
Yeah, on the draw here, that is... I mean, this matchup, Tron can win from a lot of situations. But here's a swing for 5. Brett's to 8. He has 2 Fulminators. Here's one of them. Takes care of another Tron piece. Does not want to see Thragtusk. And go back to Brett. Draw, and I think that's going to do it. He extends the hand, end-step bolt, plus the attack. Michael Olson, the 2-0 upset.